Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. The window to invest in Fanbase is closing. We've raised over $10.6 million of our $17 million goal. That means there's room for less than 6,370 people to invest in Fanbase for the average amount. The minimum to invest in Fanbase Right now, it's $399. That makes you an owner in Fanbase today. Go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. Why? Because current social apps have taken advantage of users for far too long, with content suppression, shadow banning, harmful racist content, and no real tools for monetization and equity. Fanbase has over 1.4 million users and counting, allowing anyone to reach all their following and monetize their content from day one. Social media is the new TV, and whoever owns the apps that distribute that content have the opportunity to own potential billion-dollar companies. While big platforms with uncertain futures are failing to serve their users, Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now, invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the next generation of social media.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now. Black power.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? Hey, folks, today is Wednesday, August 6, 2025, coming up on Roland Unfiltered, streaming live from the Black Star Network. I am here in Cleveland for the 50th anniversary convention of the National Association of Black Journalists. On today's show, the Texas Democrats, there's a bomb scare today at the hotel they're staying at in Chicago. They continue the fight against racist gerrymandering in Texas. We'll talk with the chair of the Texas Legislative Black Caucus, Ron Reynolds. Also on today's show, it is the 60th anniversary of the Voting Rights Act. We'll talk to Ambassador Andrew Young. He was there in Selma on that day, Bloody Sunday, when black folks were severely beaten, again, trying to get the right to vote. A shocking story out of South Carolina where a couple of young teens go swimming. They end up dying after being exposed to a rare brain-eating amoeba in a lake there. We'll talk with the family there as well. Plus, the July jobs report comes out. Donald Trump is so pissed off he fires the person over the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Folks, we have a major economy that's going to explode in a downward way. We'll talk with economist Morgan Harper about that. It is time to bring the funk on Roland Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, roll, y'all. It's Roland Martin, rolling with Roland now. He's funky, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
Folks, today is the 60th anniversary of the Voting Rights Act. Black people went through hell in order to make that a reality. And what is the result? Significant black voter turnout across the country. We have seen black elected officials elected, mayors, city council, state rep, state senate, governor, members of Congress, United States Senate, and even a president. We continue to see the battles of the 50s and 60s during Jim Crow play out present day, as right now Republicans are locked into a racist gerrymander in Texas. That's one of the reasons why 51 Texans have fled the state in order to keep the Texas House from having a quorum to being able to pass these racist gerrymandered maps. Joining us right now is Ron Reynolds, state representative out of Houston. He is the chair of the Texas Legislative Black Caucus. Also joining us on the show is one of his colleagues who is remaining steadfast in this fight, as many of them are, because this is, again, a very, very difficult situation, being away from their families. And so you have these members who literally are in Chicago continuing the battle as well. Representative Bowers, glad to have all of y'all here. Thanks a lot. Ron, I want to start with you. Listen, this thing is real. In a moment, I'm going to talk to the Ambassador Andrew Young. They put their lives, they face death every day. And look, today, y'all have to deal with the reality of a death threat being called, a bomb threat being called into the hotel where you're staying there in Chicago. And so this is a battle that you're going to have to be in this for months. What are you saying to your caucus? What are other Democrats saying to keep their spirits up? Because we're talking about what potentially could be a 4, 5, or even 6-month process to keep Republicans from approving these racist gerrymandered maps.
Roland, it's great to be on with you, Frat, and it's so good to see you wearing the old black and old gold, because on this 60th anniversary of the Voting Rights Act of 1965, it was our frat brother, Dr. Martin Luther King, and as you said, Ambassador Andrew Young, two great alpha men who were young soldiers on the battlefield with other freedom fighters that made good trouble so that they could push to end Jim Crow. And here we are in 2025. Retta and I and our colleagues are battling this racist gerrymandered map that would disenfranchise black and brown communities particularly, but African Americans will be hit fiercely hard in Houston and Dallas. And so we're here to stop this Trump, Abbott, Texas takeover, to push back, to make good trouble, to do everything we can to stop this. And we're here as long as it takes in order to stop it, Roland. We know that those who came before us, they made tremendous sacrifices. They risked it all. They were willing to put their lives on the lines through freedom rides, through lunch sit-ins. They were willing to march, knowing that they could be beaten, they could be killed, and many of them did pay the ultimate sacrifice. So here we are, standing on the right side of history, pushing back against these MAGA racist extremists that are trying to take our country in the wrong direction, to hold on to the short, small Republican majority that's in the House of Representatives. We will not let them do this on our watch, Roland. So thank you for having us on. Let's continue to ring the alarm bell so people will wake up and they will take action and stand and fight.
State Rep Andrew Bowers, again, this seems like we are back in Jim Crow days, having to fight tooth and nail to protect basic rights. What you have here are Republicans who want to eradicate, completely get rid of these 5 districts, these 5 seats in order to achieve power, and they want to do it at the expense of black people, largely black people, but also Latinos.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Roland, thank you so much for having us. As Ron said, it's good to be on here with you all tonight, but that's certainly what they're trying to reduce us to. And this is a reduction of political power, especially, as you said, in the black community. Y'all know that I represent out of Dallas now, but I am homegrown in 3rd Ward in H-Town, and grew up in the 18th Congressional District. So it is a real racist, I don't want to call it a power grab, so I'm going to call it what it is. It's racism, and it is literally reducing us to a place where now it takes 4 votes for black people to be equivalent to one white vote, an Anglo vote. So they are reducing us down to 1/5. And it just reminds me of the I am a man and I am a woman, but it reminds me of that poem, I Am a Man. And I was just in the African American Museum in the nation's capital this year, and we know that it's a real rollback. The president is trying his best to take us all the way back and take every right that we've had away from us. So we're here, as you said, Roland, fighting, and I'm going to say we're ready to fight like hell. We've been here, and with the threats today, today's probably the first day in this quorum break that I felt a little bit uneasy. I can't even say a little bit, but we know that it happened, and we know that we're safe, and it's not going to deter us.
This is, and Representative Reynolds, again, explain to the audience, we've been saying it from day one, why we have to use the specific language by saying this is racist gerrymandering.
Well, Roland, we have to use that specific language because the U.S. Supreme Court has said that partisan gerrymandering is acceptable. That is okay if Republicans say, well, we just did it because we wanted to get more Republican seats. Well, the Supreme Court has said that's okay. But what you cannot do legally per the Voting Rights Act of 1965, Section 2, that is still in place because the rest of it was gutted, or else Texas couldn't have done this in the first place, but that's another story. But it says that they could not do it on the basis of race. Well, this is strictly on the basis of race. They are eviscerating Black districts specifically. And for those who don't know, I know, Roland, you have so great audience because you're always educating them. But for those new listeners, Texas has more African Americans than any other state. If anything, we should be expanding African American representation, not reducing it. We're reducing it by 50%. So instead of having 4 African American seats, we're going to now have 2 based on these maps.
Yes.
And so this is a direct racial affront, an attack on our Black and brown communities, reminiscent, like you said, Roland, of the 1960s. And I want to remind people that if it wasn't for those freedom fighters, we would still be in those dark days. And President Trump, he is trying to take us back. He wants to roll back the clock. He's done it with rolling back through attacks on diversity, equity, and inclusion. They want to take out the history book so you can't teach through critical race theory, so you can't teach about slavery. Like, they want to erase it from our existence. They want to erase us from having a seat at the table. So that is why we have to fight. We have to call out these racism when we see it, and we have to speak truth to power, and we have to be willing to fight because our freedom and liberty is at stake, and they literally want to do everything they can to put us back as second-class citizens. And I'm not going to have it on our watch. And Roland, I want to thank you for always being willing to use your media platform when other mainstream media doesn't want to call it racist. They want to sugarcoat it and say, oh, it's just partisan politics. No, this is racism. This is racial gerrymandering. And that is what we are here to speak out against.
Mm-hmm.
Representative Bowers was interesting in the Republicans saying, oh, no, we're creating, you know what, Republican districts for Hispanic. So they're now trying to pit Black against Latino in Texas.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And they know that Texas, right now, we're 13% of the population is Black. They know that the Latino population continues to grow. And they would love to pit us against each other. We saw some terrible things happen in that last presidential election where, I hate to say it, Roland, and Ron, you know this as well, but Black and brown men were voting against their better interest, against their best interest when it came to who their candidate of choice should have been. And so they would love to pit us against each other. They know that the minorities, they know they're outnumbered. And I guess, you know, what I really want to say is they knew that they would not win in 2026, so they decided they needed to steal something in 2025. That's where we are right now. And the best way for them to do it is to change the game, change the maps, and certainly to pit Black and brown people against each other.
All right, then. Representative Bowers, Representative Ron Reynolds, I appreciate both of you being with us. We appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Brad.
Thank you.
Folks, going to go to a break. We come back. We're going to talk with Ambassador Andrew Young. He knows a whole lot about these battles when it comes to racism and politics. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
This week on The Other Side of Change.
Diaspora wars. The internet has been swarmed. Who has a right to Blackness and Black culture? Who is overrepresented, underrepresented? It's too much. It's making us dizzy.
We don't have to be prideful without this air of superiority, right? All stories matter. within this Black sphere that we exist in.
Only on the other side of change on the Black Star Network.
Next on the Black Table with me, Greg Carr. The United States is the most dangerous place for a woman to give birth among all industrialized nations on the planet. Think about that for a second. That's not all. Black women are 3 times more likely to die in this country during childbirth than white women.
These healthcare systems are inherently racist. There are a lot of white supremacist ideas and mythologies around Black women, Black women's bodies, even Black people, that we experience painless, right?
Activist, organizer, and fearless freedom fighter Monifa Akinwole Bandele from Moms Rising joins us and tells us this shocking phenomenon, like so much else, is rooted in unadulterated racism. And that's just one of her fights. Monifa Bandele on the next Black Table here on the Black Star Network.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. The window to invest in Fanbase is closing. We've raised over $10.6 million of our $17 million goal. That means there's room for less than 6,370 people to invest in Fanbase for the average amount. The minimum to invest in Fanbase right now is $399. That makes you an owner in Fanbase today. Go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. Why? Because current social apps have taken advantage of users for far too long, with content suppression, shadow banning, harmful racist content, and no real tools for monetization and equity. Fanbase has over 1.4 million users and counting, allowing anyone to reach all their following and monetize their content from day one. Social media is the new TV, and whoever owns the apps that distribute that content have the opportunity to own potential billion-dollar companies. While big platforms with uncertain futures are failing to serve their users, Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now, invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the next generation of social media.
On the next Get Wealthy with me, Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, Black Americans have 1/10 the wealth of their white counterparts. But how did we get here? It's a huge gap. Well, that's why we need to know the history and what we need to do to turn our income into wealth. Financial author and journalist Rodney Brooks joins us to tell us exactly what we need to do to achieve financial success.
You can't talk about why we are, as Black people, where we are, unless you talk about how we got here.
Bridging the gap and getting wealthy, only on Black Star Network.
Hello, I'm Paula J. Parker, truly proud of the Proud family.
Don't you? Folks, 60 years ago, President Lyndon Baines Johnson signed into law the Voting Rights Act that fundamentally changed voting for African Americans, especially in the South. Here is some of what he said on that historic day.
Even if we pass this bill, the battle will not be over. What happened in Selma is part of a far larger movement which reaches into every section and state of America. It is the effort of American Negroes to secure for themselves the full blessings of American life. Their cause must be our cause too, because it's not just Negroes, but really it's all of us who must overcome the crippling legacy of bigotry and injustice. And we shall overcome.
That's all right, folks. President Lyndon Baines Johnson, again, with the Voting Rights Act speak. Joining us right now, is someone who put his life on the line in order to get that passed. Playing an integral role in getting that signed into law. Of course, former lieutenant of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He also member of Congress, mayor of Atlanta, ambassador to the United Nations. My alpha brother Andrew Young. Ambassador Young, how you doing?
I'm doing fair to middling, as the old folks say.
Well, I was talking to some. Say it again.
I said I got no complaints. It's just it was nice and cool here yesterday, but it's back to 100 degrees almost today in Atlanta. So it's a hot time in the whole tonight.
So you're saying the temperatures is higher than your age, huh? You're 93 years old. You've seen a lot over these years, and you were right there in the middle of this battle to get the Voting Rights Act, Civil Rights Act, Fair Housing Act made law. What stands out the most for you, reflecting 60 years later after the president signed this historic bill?
Well, it's the way that the movement was really a spirit-led movement. That we came back from Martin received the Nobel Prize in Norway, and we came back and stopped by to meet President Johnson, and all he could say was he agreed with everything we wanted and we needed, but he closed every sentence with, "I'm sorry, I just don't have the power." And when we left there, he was suggesting that we just kind of take it easy, and maybe Dr. King, after having been through the Nobel Prize and been bombed and stabbed and everything else, said maybe he might take a few months off. And actually, that's sort of what I was thinking. But as we left the White House, Dr. King said, "No, we're going to have to get the president some power." And, you know, he was even shorter than me. And I said, "You Morehouse man or something else. You ain't got a pot to piss in or window. We broke." You know, because the Nobel Peace Prize was $60,000. But Martin decided we should divide it up with all 6 of the civil rights organizations, so we only got $10,000 apiece, and that was hardly enough to keep SCLC going for a month. But he understood that social change in America is a religious process as well as a political process. And what I didn't count on, and which he didn't know, but he was sort of counting on it, was that Mrs. Amelia Boynton from Selma. Now, he knew Selma, and I knew Selma because our wives came from Marion, Alabama, which is 30 miles away from Selma. So my wife and I had our first date in Selma, and everybody knew Mrs. Boynton. So when she came over to visit with us, she just told all of the hell that black folks putting in Selma. And Martin said, "Well, we'll be there with you right after Christmas." And then normally is the NAACP celebrates Emancipation Proclamation on the first of the year. And we said, "Well, we'll come over and we'll use that as an opportunity to break the injunction and start a movement in Selma." And 3 months later, in March, we had that Bloody Sunday, which we were going to march from Selma to Montgomery because that's where Governor Wallace was. And we got the dates wrong because we said it was really confusing, but the first Sunday, was when the preachers had to be in the pulpits, and that was the 7th of March, and so none of the preachers were there, but there were about 300 people that had come from all the counties around, and they brought their knapsacks with their water and their snacks and food. And there were 300 or 400 people there ready to march. And Dr. King said, "Can't you all hold them up till we get there?" And we said, "No, because, well, it was a time difference between Selma and Atlanta. And they couldn't get there before evening, and we wanted to get the march through." So he said, "Well, go ahead and march. They're probably just going to turn you around anyway." And so that's what we decided to do. We didn't want everybody to go to jail because we thought everybody, and so John, Hosea Williams, James Bevel, and I all played odd man, flipped a coin. And it turned out to be John Lewis and Hosea Williams that led the line. And we thought they were going to just turn them around and let it go, but they were waiting on horseback. And they rode the horses into the crowd of nonviolent movement people who weren't even budging. They made no move. They were standing still, and the policemen, state troopers, drove the horses right at them and were beating everybody down with billy clubs. And that was a bloody Sunday. And it was bloody. But we recovered and were ready. There was a young white man killed after the march was over. He was in a black neighborhood, James Reeb.
James Reeb, yeah.
Yeah, R-E-E-B. And he was an Episcopal priest, I think. And people jumped him coming out of a restaurant. And they beat him by himself. And we got him to the hospital, but it was too late. There were no hospitals around there that were open. You had to drive almost all the way to Birmingham, which was 90 miles.
Let me ask you this question. When it passes, we see massive black turnout. Bull Connor gone, Jim Clark gone, all these folks gone, and we see what happened, and now we're seeing the attacks. Now we're seeing the legal battles. Now we saw, of course, the Shelby v. Holder decision. We see right now Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act hanging by a thread. Clarence Thomas has made it clear that his mission in life is to get rid of the Voting Rights Act. When you see these attacks and how the right wants to completely eradicate it, that has to make you angry, because we know, and we've already seen the results. If the Voting Rights Act is invalidated, I mean, they are going to wipe out half of the Congressional Black Caucus.
Well, they'll have to fight to do it. And I'm impressed with the way Texas and California and New York are taking up this redistricting. When I first ran for Congress, they redistricted me out of Atlanta. I live in the southwest Atlanta, but they took my house and my neighborhood and put it all the way down in Noonan, Georgia, which is 40 miles away. And of course, I lost that time. But we went back to the courts in the Fifth Circuit down here in Atlanta. We got the lines redrawn, and we had some really good people in the Georgia legislature who were black legislators, and they got into the process. And it's not just a few of us. This is a nationwide struggle. This is a struggle of a people, and we've usually found a way to come up with a miracle. And we certainly saw Lyndon Johnson, because we weren't sure about him. He had a really tough Southern accent from Texas, and we were all having hopes in Kennedy. But when Kennedy was struck down, Lyndon Johnson stepped in and did more and everything that we thought we could get John Kennedy to do. And we're grateful to what Lyndon Johnson did, because he was operating for the nation. But then we've had setbacks all over the nation, north and south. But we haven't stopped yet. And I don't know, I quote Dr. King, truth forever on the scaffold, wrong forever on the future, on the throne. But the scaffold sways the future, because behind the dim unknown standeth God within the shadows, keeping watch above his own. And we rely on those maxims and principles to say we're going to stay in this struggle till our last breath. And I mean, I've been out registering voters all over Georgia already, and we're just getting geared up, trying to keep our 2 Senate seats and the Congress, that we can add anybody from Georgia. Now that seems to be difficult.
Ambassador,
never know.
Right. To that point, Bishop William Barber sent something to me a week ago that, when you read this, it sort of is extremely sad, if you will. He said that in the last election in November, some 600,000+ African Americans in North Carolina did not vote. He said, according to data, some 1 million Black Georgians did not vote.
Yeah.
What do you say? What do you say to an African American who sits elections out, and what must we say to them to get them to recognize that their vote absolutely does matter?
Well, they can see it in Atlanta. We've had 9 Black mayors in a row. I was the second one. Maynard Jackson was first. But we've had 9 in a row, and the city is growing. The schools, we have a Hope Scholarship where anybody that makes a B average on the SAT, B average and 1,000 or 1,200 on the SAT, can go to any Georgia college free. We have, it's 60% of the Atlanta population of our workforce has had some college training, and 23% of that has master's degrees. And we did that through a segregated school system, and just kept on keeping on. And so the more we make it, the more we make and the more we do, the easier it seems to get, and the more people begin to think that it's automatic. But none of my generation, and there are not many of us left, none of us know that we can't take it for granted. When I ran for Congress, it poured down rain all day and all night on election day. And it didn't stop raining until 9 o'clock at night after the polls closed. But we had a 75% of the Black voters in Atlanta turned out. And that was the biggest turnout we'd ever had. And that's how I got into Congress. And my staff stayed together and didn't come to Washington with me. They stayed here and elected Maynard Jackson mayor in the next year. And then they came to Washington. And so there's nothing without a struggle. And we struggle too hard that we ought to be free by now.
Well, one of the things that it is a struggle, but one of the things that I was on a panel Saturday in Chicago. Janae Nelson of the NAACP Legal Defense Fund was on there as well. And she said a lot of people in this generation said this is the first time that we've had to face this level of attacks on our rights. But Ambassador, I remember something when we were engaged in, I'm here at the National Association of Black Journalists Convention. We're in Cleveland. I remember when I was last on the board and we were aggressively going after CNN for no black executives direct reporting to Jeff Zucker. And I remember calling Bernard Shaw, and Bernard Shaw said, Roland, every generation has their moment. He said, it's your turn. And I think that's really the message. We have to understand that, hey, you talked about we should be free by now, but the reality is we're not, which means that this generation, Gen X, Millennials, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, we got to be in this fight because at the end of the day, the battle today is for really a future of tomorrow.
That's exactly true. But you have to fight for it today to be around tomorrow, because they're trying to take away the rights we've accumulated already. And they don't make any, they're not ashamed, it seems. They want to reestablish slavery almost.
I wrote my book. Go ahead.
No, I said we're working together pretty well here in Atlanta, but again, we're surrounded by the same people who've been here before. Now, we got together with most of the. I mean, I never got elected with just black votes into the Congress and nor to as mayor, and it was the black vote in Georgia that gave Jimmy Carter his chance to be president, and also Bill Clinton, and we have turned out politically, and we have made progress. The struggle continues, though. Nobody told us that the way would be.
You made a point. You made a point just moments ago where you said, "Go ahead." You said, "Go finish that thought."
Yeah, I said nobody told us that the way would be easy, but I don't believe he brought us this far to leave us. You know, I don't feel no ways tired. We've come too far from where we started from.
And you made a point moments ago where you said it seems like they want to take us back to slavery. What I said for months now is that this effort, they want to defund Black America. They want to completely destroy the infrastructure, the civil rights, the economic rights, the social justice, the political infrastructure that folks like you and so many other unsung heroes fought for. That's what they're trying to do right now.
Well, and they're wrong, and they won't be able to do it, because this economy is a strong economy in spite of the people that are trying to resegregate it or pick on folk or cut people out or take advantage of people every time they can get. But it's like how could you play in the NFL? How could the NFL have a football team without black folks? You know, I went down in Mobile where there were Mobile's put up statues of Hank Aaron and Satchel Paige and 3 or 4 others there are 5 black Mobilians that are in the Baseball Hall of Fame. And they embrace that, and they realize that that's an important part of keeping Mobile, Alabama, the city that it can be. And I don't know. I still go back to, I don't feel no ways tired. I'm 93 years old, and I was tired when I came home today because this up and down weather with the heat and cold kind of got to me a little ways. But, you know, I'm here, and I don't feel tired.
Well, what I always say, Ambassador Young, as long as if you got breath in your body and you can still move, there's still some work you to do on our path to freedom.
Well, I kind of feel that way. You know, when in St. Augustine, Florida, which is where we had the last march before they passed the '64 Civil Rights Act, there are 2 young women who brought us down there, and one of them's, they all past 100 now, and they still driving. We have a number of people, the old civil rights fighters are all, you know, retirement age, but nobody's stopping. And we keep on keeping on, opening doors for the younger generation and doing everything we can to help prepare the way for a brighter tomorrow.
Absolutely. Ambassador Andrew Young, it's always a pleasure to chat with you, my dear brother. Stay well, keep swinging, and I'm right there with you, giving folks hell and speaking truth and what we need in order to be on that path to be free one day.
All right. God bless you. And keep on keeping on.
I appreciate it.
All right.
Yes, sir. Will do. Well, thank you, sir. Tell the wife hello. Folks, that is Ambassador Andrew Young. Let me bring in right now my panelists. Glad to have them here. They've been holding for some time. We had to get with our various guests right there. And let's go right to them. Pull the panelists up, please. Pull them up, pull them up. All right, then, of course. Talik McMillan, glad to have you here on the show. One of our young panelists, young brother who is doing some good work. Glad to have him here. Like I say, folks, we've been, it has been quite the busy day as we here in Cleveland. We see all of the craziness going on. Let me also thank Andrew Clark, who's joined us as well. Managing partner, he is, of course, with the District Legal Group. Glad to have you both. Tyler, I want to start with you. I mean, to sit there and listen to 93-year-old Andrew Young still in the fight, trust me, people talk about my travel schedule. I swear that man travels more than I do, and not giving up. And I think what jumps out there was not losing faith in our ability to fight for freedom.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always a joy to be on Roland, but definitely hearing from Ambassador Young, I have had opportunity to sit and talk with him many times, and his wisdom and insight, I think it echoes through generations. And I think today, as we say, we are 60 years removed from the passage of the Voting Rights Act, and yet we are still fighting for these protections. We can't claim to be, the global standard of democracy and these standards of barriers, but yet voter suppression runs rampant right here in our home. I think it's very hypocritical for us as a nation to send diplomats to defend democracy overseas while we are closing polling places, purging voter rolls, and ignoring the erosion of civil rights here in our own country. And I think if democracy abroad is worth fighting for, it must be worth fighting for in Alabama, in Georgia, in Texas, and for the over 400,000 Washingtonians here in D.C. And I think that's what real patriotism means. And I think if we can't defend the basic freedom of protecting the right to vote, what can we protect? All the other, issues are on the line. And it's very important that we stand up and ensure that our rights are being protected.
Andrew, what it also says to anybody who was listening to Ambassador Young, you ain't got no damn excuse sitting your ass on the sidelines. What's happening in Texas, that is not just about right now. That is literally about the next generation of African Americans, the voting rights battle right now. And so when I listen to people talk about, oh, I'm tired, all this, no. Listen, go take a nap, go get some rest, but this is not a moment for us to be checking out of a process.
Yeah, and it really goes back to the beginning of this administration and the types of tactics that we saw them use in trying to rig elections. We saw them trying to rig judicial elections and influence those elections. Now they're trying to gerrymander out there in Texas. And kudos to all of the representatives in Texas who banded together and who are now safely in the great city of Chicago. Really, it's something that, especially 60 years ago, and the types of things that 60 years ago we saw people have to go through, not me, but at least the previous generation, and we've seen people have to go through. Now we're seeing similar things, and them talking about FBI warrants and arresting them and taking them back, and they're staying put. And I urge all of those representatives that we all support you throughout the country, so to stay strong and to keep doing what you're doing, because it's important, not just for Texas, but for the rest of the country, because if they're allowed to do this in a state like Texas, then all of these red states are going to follow suit. So kudos to them for doing this.
Absolutely. And so, hey, there's a lot of work to do, and people need to understand that. Hold tight 1 second, folks. We're going to go to a break. We'll be right back. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. When we chat with Morgan Harper, economist. Job numbers are in. Ooh, Trump is losing his mind because he is tanking the economy, and his tariffs are what's taking us down. We're going to talk about that with Morgan. Folks, don't forget to support the work that we do. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. Your dollars make it possible for us to be able to do the work that we do here at Roland Martin Unfiltered and the Black Star Network. Support our work by contributing to us, becoming a donor, joining our Bring the Funk fan club. The goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing on average $50 each a year. That's $4.19 a month, 13 cents a day. If you want to do that, please, if you want to contribute via Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here on your screen, the Stripe QR code. Click the Cash App Pay button to contribute. You can also, of course, send a check or money order, make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 2003 7-0196. PayPal, R. Martin Unfiltered. Venmo, RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. We'll be right back.
On a next, A Balanced Life with me, Dr. Jackie, we're talking about leveling up, or to put it another way, living your very best life. How to take a bold step forward that'll rock your world.
Leveling up is different for everybody. I think we fall into this trap, which often gets us stuck because we're looking at someone else's level up journey, what leveling up means to them. For some, it might be a business venture. For some, it might be a relationship situation, but it's different for everybody.
It's all a part of A Balanced Life. That's next on Black Star Network.
This week on The Other Side of Change.
Diaspora wars. The internet has been swarmed. Who has a right to blackness and black culture? Who is overrepresented, underrepresented? It's too much. It's making us dizzy.
We don't have to be prideful without this air of superiority, right? All stories matter within this black sphere that we exist in.
Only on The Other Side of Change on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I am Tommy Davidson. I play Oscar on Proud Family, Louder and Prouder. I don't play Sammy, but I could. Or I don't play Obama, but I could. I don't do Stallone, but I could do all that. And I am here with Roland Martin on Unfiltered.
Folks, imagine going to a lake in South Carolina on the 4th of July, and then you're planning a funeral. That is what happened to the family of 12-year-old Jason Carr, full of life, enjoying the day, swimming in Lake Murray in South Carolina. Yet 2 weeks later, he was dead due to a rare deadly brain infection. Now, doctors say Jason was infected by a brain-eating amoeba found in warm, fresh water. It enters through the nose and attacks the brain. His family had never even heard of it, and they said they had no idea the lake posed any danger. There were no signs, no warning, and no water testing. Now, Jason's parents are speaking out, determined to raise awareness to know the family that to go through what they are dealing with. Joining us now is Tyler Bailey, attorney for the Carr family and the civil rights advocate, as well as Jason's parents, Clarence and Ebony Carr. Clarence and Ebony, certainly our condolences. This is, look, we see this all the time. We see folks, they go swimming in lakes, they whitewater rafting, all tubing, things along those lines. And what were you told? What were you told that this body of water, does it have a history of this? Also, where you swam, was that city property, county property, private property, state property? Just give us the details of what happened here.
Well, it wasn't a specific private property. It was Lake Murray. That's a popular tourist attraction here in this city. It's always busy. It's always crowded. And again, the only thing he did was go swimming, hang out with his friends. They went fishing, boating, tubing. And after he came home a couple of days later, he complained about a headache. And we took him